Omega-3 is a free fatty acid, which our body needs desperately. Fish oil is one form of omega-3. Flaxseed has omega-3, and there are certain omega-3s in other vegetables and animal fats and things of that nature. But the thing about omega-3s is one of the primary positive characteristics is that it lowers your cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, and can increase the good cholesterol. The LDL cholesterol is we consider bad because it's small and it can go through a little irritation or lining in your blood vessels and then get in and cause arteriosclerosis. Your HDL, we call it heavy, it's a larger size cholesterol. That's your good cholesterol, and because it's big, it cannot go through in the lining, so that prevents arteriosclerosis. So that's why it's so important for us to understand and do testing on what our cholesterol levels are, LDL, and there's an LDL little a, which is one of our worst ones. There's different forms of even the LDL cholesterol that we test for and can evaluate, and a lot of cardiologists evaluate that in more details. But omega-3s can do great things for lowering cholesterol. It can really help the skin a lot of times. It's amazing. It prevents hair loss. Even we give omega-3s to animals. It prevents hair shedding, and it helps for healthy skin. Omega-3s are almost good for about everything. It even helps somewhat with our diabetes, with lowering blood pressure somewhat. And one of the examples that helped me understand the importance of omega-3, like with heart disease and stroke, and maybe before that, I'll just tell you there was a study done in Japan with a number of women who had a omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of 4:1, as well as the women, or I think women, and maybe women and men in the Mediterranean area that eat a lot of cold water fish, fresh vegetables, that had a ratio of omega-6 4:1, which is a good high level for omega-3s. That leads to more of a thinning and not the stickiness and nature of the cholesterol. For example, Americans range at 10 to 20 to 1, often in their ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s. So that's why we have so much heart disease. Well, in these two different studies across from the world, the Mediterranean ladies and maybe included men too, but and then women in Japan, their risk of having heart attacks and stroke was 90% less than the people that had higher levels of omega-6s compared to omega-3s. The omega-6s I like are like in your large animals like pigs and cows, and when at room temperature they're more solid, and you'll see that like when you fry bacon or something, you'll see solid. Well, that's the same thing we do to our bodies when we eat those foods. But in omega-3, you take the fish oil or a flaxseed oil, it's a liquid at that temperature, and it just makes sense that at our body temperature, we don't want to have something that's stopping up our arteries. And when I learned of that, it helped me to understand why the importance is so much. And there's tests that we can do. I did those on myself, and I do those tests with some people that are really interested to find out what their ratio is of omega-6s to omega-3s, so we know how much omega-3s to take. The FDA approves of 3,000 milligrams a day. Often, what I've been taught in heart disease, a lot of times from 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day for people that have significant heart disease. Women, it seems like around 2,000 milligrams a day is very good. It helps us to, I think, live longer. It helps our blood vessels to be healthier. It helps to have lower the cholesterol, have less fat in our system. Other things that omega-3s are really good for, it's really anti-inflammatory, and probably omega-3s do more single things than any other supplement or vitamin that's out there. But it helps with GI health and gut health. It helps with also brain health. Having a healthy free fatty acid to go into the brain for the neurotransmission and things it's going to be much better than having unhealthy acids. We talk about arachidonic acid as an unhealthy inflammatory acid. So it helps a lot of times. There's been some studies, of course, with mood and depression, and there's been over 35,000 studies with omega-3s. So it's been used extensively there. So it helps the brain, it helps the GI, it helps the skin. It helps us with our heart dramatically, our blood vessel health, and things of that nature. So it's real important for, I think, for us to supplement with omega-3s. It's one of my primary supplements that helps so many people. And it lowers cholesterol, which is one of your first line defenses against any kind of heart attack or stroke.